once they started introducing real monsters, it's like, okay, so you went from something that was actually relatable and fun to what the fuck am I watching? Why am I watching this guy take a pair of pliers to a woman's finger?
Holy shit.
Yeah, episode 12, I think it was. Last episode of the last core, um, or second to last, I can't remember which off the top of my head. King Torture, the quote unquote antagonist of the season, grabbed a pair of pliers and started breaking a girl's fingers.
No, like I said, Samurai Flamenco just didn't seem like something that interests me. Kill a Kill, I'm just probably gonna wait till that ends to hear what everybody says, and then probably just marathon the whole thing.
I mean,
That to me, even sorry to interrupt.
no
To me,
worries.
that's like a show. To me, that would seem better suited if I just marathon the whole bunch of it.
Mm,
That doesn't to me doesn't seem like a week to week show. That sort of is the same thing I had with Attack on Titan. Like I just did like two big marathons and that was it. That wasn't like a show that I could just watch like week to week and be satisfied.
oh god, no, because Attack on Titan is the worst because it ended on cliffhangers. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's again why like I said I didn't watch it week to week.
oh man, that was torture. I love the show, but that was torture.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm actually on my second watch of that right now because I started the Netflix stream to see how the subtitles match up.
Mm.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, because I just watched it. Well, I watched this as it was airing. Well,
Mm.
once I marathoned, and I got to a point where, okay, there's like maybe 2 weeks left. I could just wait. Okay, I'll watch up to where there's the last two episodes.
Mm.
Watch the last one, and then I can go right into the last one. Then,
Right.
and that be it.
Right.
That worked for me.
Honestly, I hope that Funimation treats it well. That's a show that could do incredibly well in the
Well,
West.
yeah, I mean, it did well in Japan for some reason. I mean, I'm just like shocked it just did so well. I don't know why. I mean, I know the manga's popular.
And
Maybe that's part of it.
the manga's popular, but also it's the fact that I really think it's just a great epic story that people can just kind of sink their teeth into.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, it has its problems. I mean, those aside, plot and some of the animation problems, but I mean, it is a good story. I mean, I think if Funimation would treat it right, it could be big seller.
Fully agreed. I really do hope that Funimation can do this one right because
Well, yeah, I do too.
I mean, I was actually kind of hoping that once they get their crap together, once they get the dub done, I'm hoping they shop it off to Toonami because
Yeah, that well, either there or yeah.
um
I mean, they might have to tone it down a bit with the. You might have to do some censoring because of the violence, but I mean that right there screams mainstream appeal.
oh god yeah. I mean, in my interview with Neon Alley, they were fiending for this. They want it.
Well, well, hey, might end up on there too. I mean, they got One Piece on there and occasionally some other Funimation stuff, but I mean, it could work there too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they. So, I mean, this is a show that I really hope it can kind of click with the market because this is one I think, if handled right, it could be the next Bebop in terms of impact.
Could be. It's got the appeal, obviously, over here. It's got the appeal in Japan and being a massive seller. So the appeal's on that side.
Right.
So maybe they'll make more of it. Like I said, if they hate money, they won't make more of it.
Oh, yeah, I give it 6 months before the announcement because
Yeah.
right now they want to kind of pump up their current season, and
Yes.
if I remember correctly, they actually usually your time for announcements is end of the year, which is when we got Sword Art 2.
Yeah. That.
And oops, sorry.
Yeah. People went ape shit with that, but that's surprising either. They were going to make a sequel. Well, I shouldn't say that because I actually haven't watched that show yet.
Season 1 was good. Wish I made a season 2.
Yeah.
No one gets that joke.
Yeah, I know I know kind of what you're getting at.
Yeah.
A lot of people once it went to that second arc, a lot of people hate it. Or the second core, a lot of people seem to hate it then.
It went so far downhill, like so incredibly downhill that it makes your mind boggle. I am kind of interested in season 3, except I'm kind of worried that's going to become fetish fodder.
Well, I know they're switching to some that's like FPS game or something. So
Right, it's Gun Gale Online, I think it is, where all your major characters, including oh shit, what's his name? I know I shouldn't be forgetting character names, especially the main character.
yeah, I know who
Kirito.
I mean,
his name
Kirito is actually has a female avatar in this one,
That
Yeah, that I
sounds
might be
horrible.
interested in.
so it's gonna get very fetishy very fast on this
Yeah.
is like two channel.
Yeah,
What,
I'm just waiting to
what
see
do
how the
Japanese
shitstorm
know
of
about
pyramids.
FES, really?
Well, it's not necessarily an FPS. It's kind of like an online shooter, kind of like Japanese Gears of War type of thing, almost with a social element.
So, third-person shooter.
Right. It's hard to explain.
Is that popular in Japan?
Honestly, depending on the game, it can be. Call of Duty does decent numbers every year.
Well, I guess that's cool. Surprising.
Well, not really when you consider the number of gun otaku out there.
Yeah.
Holy shit. There's
The hell is that?
thunder behind me.
Epic thunder
It's
noise.
fucking January and there's a thunderstorm brewing.
That shit's cray cray, dude.
No, I will one day get the Sora line. I just, like I said, with the new season, I'm just like all these shows I'm watching, and tomorrow I'm going to start the chopping block, start cutting shows out.
Mm.
And I'm starting to still work on my backlog. Because the other day I finally watched Golden Boy, which I loved.
Oh man, Golden Boy's great.
Golden Boy is
And I
so
bought
good.
it. Finally bought it. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Well, today I finished Angel Cop. That was enjoyable.
I've heard that's really violent.
It is. Well, it's
Mm.
very violent and very anti-Semitic.
Yeah, well.
Well, at least in the Japanese, they mention it. It's basically the Jews are trying to ruin Japan. And they dubbed it in English, which they basically made extreme. They basically upped the profanity to about like 100.
Mm-hmm.
They removed it and made it said that it was the Americans were actually the ones trying to bring Japan down. And then they also changed it in the subtitles to say Americans, even though they're not saying that in the Japanese.
Well, to recap, I should mention that I love Sword Art Online. The first, the part of it that's legitimate. Is it actually 2 seasons, the first and second halves? Or is it just one season where the second half is crap?
It's actually one continuous series with two distinct seasons. This new one coming out is actually the second distinct series.
Is a season always just 13 episodes?
Nowadays it is. It used to be 26 as broadcast standard.
Oh, okay. So it used to be like American broadcast TV where fall and spring were considered one season.
Right.
But now it's just 13 episodes this a season. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. Makes it easier to talk about. First season is fucking brilliant. Second season is fucking terrible.
Yep. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when the shift began, but I know.
No, it was definitely at the season break because
No, I mean like that shift between 26 and 13 episode seasons.
oh,
I know it definitely happened in the last 20 years because through the 90s we had 26 episode seasons.
yeah.
The first one core anime was late well, we had a bunch of them, but like the first time when it really started to become popular was it had to be later in the 90s if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it must have been related to the point where anime more heavily followed. There was always a lot of anime based on manga. That's
Right.
unavoidable. But at some point, it started following it faithfully and rigorously. I don't know specifically what point that began.
Right.
It almost seems like KyoAni was the beginning of that, but it could have been earlier.
I wouldn't say KyoAni because Haruhi was definitely 26 episodes, and that was their first major series. I'd probably say it started.
Well, I say Air had 13 episodes.
That is
and that
true.
was before Haruhi. And then you had
That is true.
Kanon, which had 26.
26. It was a full
Yeah.
season, yeah.
It was yeah.
You are correct. I'm definitely wrong there.
Well, I'm not
Um,
trying to correct
no,
you.
no.
I just saying those were. I know, like I said, I know Air was 13.
Mm,
Then you had Kanon, which was or Canon, what the hell I pronounce it, was 26.
no, definitely correct me because if not, I'd rather be correct on stuff like that.
I think
And
it's.
well, I'm not mean.
Yeah, I guess you could pronounce it either way, Canon or Kanon.
Yeah.
I think it's with a K, right? That's just
Yeah.
the
K-N-O-N.
Japanese pronunciation of
Yeah.
the C word. I think Kanon is probably what they call it.
Well, I haven't listened to the Soviet version yet, so when I do that, I think they do state they state in there like because they say it during the show like about that song or music or whatever the hell it was. They do state it, so I'm gonna have to listen to it again.
Something like Kanon is different because it doesn't follow the whole manga juggernaut. It's visual.
Well, that was a visual novel adaptation.
Yeah. So those are a little bit different. I think visual novel adaptations, The novels themselves are probably structured to be, roughly the same length as a light novel. It seems that way anyway. Possibly a little bit longer, time-wise, but not longer content-wise, if that makes sense. So I think it's reasonable at least to equate visual novels with light novels because they tend to be serial and when they have a decently digestible portion, they go ahead and release and start working on the next installment. Anyway, what I was going to say is that that's a little bit different from the whole manga release juggernaut, which is probably closely related to the tankobon releases. As soon as a graphic novel installment is ready, there may or may not be an anime season associated with that, but it never seems to go beyond. In the old days it did, like the X movie, which was horrible. It actually went beyond the story that the manga had finished.
Why would you do that?
Well, I think it's okay if your writing staff is competent, but in that case,
sure,
not so much.
I mean, this is like
it seems like a lot of anime is just it makes me feel bad for the studios. The anime is just a slave to the manga release cycle, and let's face it, making an issue of manga, even if you have assistants, it's a lot of work. It takes time. So and they can produce an anime episode faster. So it all sort of falls apart. I think that's where Attack on Titan is right now. They're just waiting for a long enough period so that there's enough material to make another season.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll end up with they could go the DBZ route where you have somebody trying to fight a Titan last 10 episodes.
I think we're all okay with it not going the DBZ route, but that's definitely a valid choice.
Definitely.
I think that's the better choice for this.
I'd actually say, honestly, I would be more worried. I would be more concerned if they went the Slayers try Revolution, Evolution R route, where they just start writing their own story instead and diverting and creating their own world.
I'm perfectly okay with that if it's good, but, I think you're mentioning those shows because you think they're not.
Dude, Slayers Try has a story arc where Lena Inverse gets knocked out or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's really just a weird, screwed up retelling of Alice in Wonderland. This takes up a full 6 episodes. You can throw out that one disc and not miss anything important. Slayers Revolution or Evolution R, they bring back Rezo again for some reason, despite the fact that there are countless novels, countless stories written with some really badass and awesome villains that they could work with. I mean, I don't know why they do it, but they do.
Yeah, the point is that, and this is sort of I've changed my mind a little bit from when I was younger. I'm perfectly okay with somebody adapting a source material and making it into something different if they're competent and what they come up with is interesting,
True, but
that's fine if
I mean,
not a common thing, I'll grant you.
Right. I mean, I have no problem with it, but there's cases where
something like Beautiful Dreamer is a perfect example of that. That is far beyond what Takahashi could have come up with, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, Beautiful Dreamer was a masterpiece. I mean, Kare Kano was a masterpiece. I mean, it was a fantastic show. And that, again, it kind of took liberties with what was presented with the manga.
Yeah.
It takes many liberties.
Because of that, so we never got another season of it.
That
still pains me.
That's because Hideaki Anno quit because the creator was being such a bitch.
Well, apparently I read that she didn't like the fact that they were making it more comedy than focused on the romance. Although then, of course, someone said that the manga kind of then ruined the romance because the main character dude rapes the girl, forces her into having sex, and then that completely ruins the romance. But
forcing someone to have sex and raping them is pretty much the same thing, so you were not wrong there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't read the manga in a while.
I think reasonable people can disagree as to what happened with that.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've have it. I just haven't reread the manga in a while.
Mm.
Probably gonna do that one of these days.
I mean, the thing is, I think it's almost like Suda didn't recognize how funny her work was, and Anno did, and he made a terrific show around it.
Exactly.
He did. I mean, it's her loss, I guess. I mean, it's obviously she wasn't happy, but I mean, like I said, her loss.
Yeah, I think. Well, I can appreciate what happened. I mean, if I were in Suda's shoes, I think I would want to exercise some creative control over what the animators were doing. But at the same time, if I were her, I'm not an animator. I don't know the best way to tell this story, and expecting them to just add motion between the frames of my comic, that's pretty short-sighted.
Right. I mean, I'm just gonna say this now. Imagine if Shiho Sato got pissed off about Revolutionary Girl Utena, or if Naoko Takeuchi actually objected to the way they were handling Sailor Moon, because they definitely took liberties in both of those, and they diverged at times pretty wildly from the source material, but at the same time they created something that was incredibly strong. They created something that was like so special. It resonated with the fans. It created brand new fans. It created markets that wouldn't have existed if they kind of got their way.
Well, now they are making it again, Sailor Moon again. So
True, but I mean,
how that's gonna go, I don't know. Well, because I think this one's gonna be more. They said it's gonna be more faithful to the manga.
Oh, that could actually be, honestly, 20 years later, I have no problem with it, because the benefit of Sailor Moon was it was incredibly strong to begin with. I mean, it is a good, well-told story. I just hope they don't go the route of the TV series, which was also started off fairly faithful to the manga, and just turn it into something cheesy.
I don't know. I haven't read all the manga. I think I have up to like volume 7 or 8 that Kodansha put out. That's all I have, and I really haven't read it in a while. So, I mean, they said they want to make it more, like I said, to be more faithful, since it's not like it's not like remaking the first one. They're just basically saying, well, hey, we're just gonna make it again, but it's gonna be more faithful to the source material.
Right. I mean, I don't doubt that. I just hope they don't go like 100% pure source material, because I know people are probably going to lynch me for saying this, but some of the best moments were the unintended comedy moments in the original series. Or not unintended, but like the goofy comedy moments that were kind of added in. I love the scene where it showed the girls trying to cook, and then you see
cook meth.
Yeah, it's Sailor Breaking Bad. But it shows them trying to cook something. I think it's like curry or something like that, and it shows Minako chopping carrots. And suddenly you hear her scream. Goes to her, she's holding her hand, she says, "I cut my finger off." They start freaking out. They pick up this piece of orange, and then it takes a few seconds to clues in, but they clue in it's kind of a carrot, and she just cut herself. Or there was actually, in one of them, I think it was S or Super S, they actually had a cameo from Crayon Shinchan, where it shows Chibiusa in the park, and a little boy walks up, and he starts talking about Mr. Elephant. He starts dancing like Shinchan. It ends with him pulling his pants down in front of the little girl, and the mother walks over and smacks him upside the head and drags him off. It sounds horrible, but it's one of the funniest things I've seen in an anime series.
I only think I haven't gotten to that far in Sailor Moon. I know I've seen the first season. I think I know what that clip you're referring to, because if I remember correctly, I think they had that in AMV Hell Zero. I think that was.
Oh yeah, this is like
somebody put that clip in.
This is definitely AMV Hell material. I'll just send it out anyway. It's in the chat for anyone that wants to watch it, because I just thought it was hilarious when I saw it. It's like so out of character for Sailor Moon, but it works so well because of it.
Yeah, I do want to watch the whole thing again, but it's just like I said. I got so much on my plate right now.
I hear you.
With all the shows I have now, and the thing with the really long running shows, I can only watch like maybe one or two of them at a time. That's all I can muster. Like I have like no like. If I try to watch a bunch of them, I just lose. Like I'm just like, I can watch maybe one or two.
Oh yeah, and I have some shows in my backlog that I just can't get anywhere with. Like, I've tried watching Appleseed 13 on 4 occasions now, and each time I can't make it through the first episode, I actually fall asleep. I literally fall asleep.
Uh,
Like, actually, Matt, once I
the
was just
the original Appleseed is, it's pretty, but it's not good
yeah, but it was entertaining though. I mean, this is just
because it's pretty.
no, it had some great action sequences actually, and some great choreography. This one here is just
That's part of pretty.
true, but I mean, this one here is just wah, I'm a loner. Wah, Bria Reyes is damaged. Wah, I hate my life. I'm a loner. I don't trust these people. Oh my God, just shut the fuck up, doing it. What
I
happened to
have a
you?
really shitty name. Who would name somebody Dunan?
Exactly. Who would do that to me? Well, you'd be amazed.
I was
The apparent.
thinking of this whole discussion about adaptations made me think of Basilisk, which, of course, is an adaptation of a book which,
Mm.
shoot, what is the name of that? The
Oh,
Koga Scrolls, something like that. The Koga
uh,
Ninja Scrolls.
researching now. It is a Basilisk manga. Is yep, Koga Ninja Scrolls.
Hey, all right, I remember
Woo.
something. The point I was gonna make is that I think any author should be thrilled if the manga adaptation or the film adaptation of their work is not anything like their work, and here's
Mm.
why. Basilisk, which is a manga
Hmm.
adapted to anime, which the anime adaptation is very faithful to the manga. And, as we all know, there's a very nice synergy between the two. If they wanted to, all they have to do is animate the frames between what's already drawn, and they've got a show. Anyway, that those couple of works, the manga and the anime, are way better than the novel, like in every possible way.
Oh yeah.
So the novelist, if he were alive, I think would be happy if they had gone a completely different direction and fucked it up. Basilisk is really good if you haven't seen the show.
Yeah, I have.
It is really good. I do love a good period show like that, and it's one of the few shows from Gonzo I legitimately enjoy.
Yeah, it's like,
I
well,
mean,
they also did the in my mind failed adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, and Basilisk is a fucking terrific Romeo and Juliet story, and they couldn't do the actual Romeo and Juliet right.
right.
And how couldn't you? I mean, who doesn't know that story in and out? Who doesn't know the point behind it? But Gonzo apparently doesn't. At least one of the teams at Gonzo doesn't.
Mm. You know, that was still one of my favorite reviews of yours when you wrote that like a Shakespearean play. Let me actually pull that up for
Yeah,
Anthony.
Funimation did what they could with that show.
Mm.
They did a respectable job of making the language interesting. I think it was a little bit, putting lipstick on a pig.
Mm.
They were doing the best they could to make like an apple pie or apple tart out of a mud pie, basically.
Trying to create Shinola out of shit.
No, it won't be the first time people have tried to do that.
Exactly. Let me pop in this. Definitely check this out, Anthony. I'm tossing in the link to the review from our really old cash version of Anime Dream. It's worth a read.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
Matt,
it wasn't a terrible show, but it was a terrible adaptation of Romeo and Juliet.
Matt, can I reprint that on Anime Herald because it was just so brilliant.
What are you talking about? That one act play I did?
Yeah,
Oh, sure. Knock yourself out.
awesome. I definitely wanted to keep this for posterity just because it's so awesome.
That was fun. I won't lie. It was really fun.
It looked like you had fun. I mean, it's well written. It's so fun to read. It's one that it's like I think everyone should read it.
I just wonder how much hate mail you're gonna get out of that, like if you repost that. Since you already got, since you said you got hate mail for Sonico or whatever the hell
Yeah,
it's called.
Sonico. I got called. Don't forget, I also got shit for my high school DxD review. Remember?
Well, to be fair on that one, I didn't
Yeah,
agree with that.
I
I
know,
actually like that show a lot.
I know, but I mean,
I'm like, well,
yeah.
because I saw that. I think it said Schroeder High School DxD. I'm like, oh boy, I'm pretty sure Mike hated this one. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
yep, he did. I'm
I
like,
mean,
well,
I make no compromise on the shows I hate. I
that's
mean,
understandable.
if you like a show, I'm happy for you. I'm not gonna say anything that'll try. I'm not trying to diminish anyone's enjoyment of a
I know.
show, but it's just when I get writing, there's no stopping me.
Yeah. I'm,
What?
I'm surprised I haven't gotten any hate mail yet myself.
Um.
I guess because I'm not like tearing shows apart
Oh
yet.
yeah, I've stopped giving fucks after I had to be nice about Gene Shaft and Angel Tales. I stopped giving fucks.
I only just want my first one just kind of just to see it and then be like, well, that's. I'm pretty sure I'll get one someday if I trash something. I mean, but I've had 2 reviews in a row where I've kind of been kind of less than positive. And well, the only thing is I post the one and someone's like, well, you wrote it, but it sounds like you were disappointed. I'm like, well, my key would have been interesting if they kept the story instead of going, oh, hey, let's show some story, and then go, oh, hey, never mind, tits instead. I'm like, well, maybe then it would have been, I mean, it still would have been, very unoriginal show, but maybe it wouldn't have been so bad.
Mock and Key. The problem was it seems like it doesn't have an identity from the sound of things.
Well, again, it's the
Yeah.
way I basically could describe it is, oh, here's some plot. Oh, you know what? Instead of plot, here's tits instead.
Pretty much.
And then this plot, well, oh, this is kind of on the back burner. That's the problem. I mean, if it would have just decided that it would have had like a very, very well, it had a basic plot, but if it just decided to keep it like very minimal and just kind of not hidden things and just go, well, here's some plot. I know it's very minimal, but you know what? Here's fan service instead, and then just throw the fan service in. Then I think it would have worked. It would have been better. But then again,
Agreed.
since Zebex is doing the second season, I'm pretty sure that's what'll happen. It'll be pretty much fan service first, plot second.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because a show like that, it's just
Well, I've seen the second OVA over Thanksgiving, and I could say that it was all but hentai. I mean, you have a scene where the main character becomes a girl and then basically like straddles a sink and masturbates. So I mean,
yeah, that's
and then they do a close up where he is outside of I guess like the girl's bath and his nipples get hard and they show that happening. I'm like, well, I can see where this is going, and I said, I'm happy it is.
I mean that's almost as bad as the monster repellent scene from that other show you're reviewing.
What's this?
What was it? We Without Wings or something like that.
Oh no, yeah, that was another one, but that was I think the problem there was, and I stated this before, you're trying to cram a 50-hour visual novel into 13 episodes, and when you're
Right.
trying to keep it all like together with all the cast, not often
Mm.
not generally going to work, and it didn't work. It was just a case of, okay, we got to do all this. We have this big game. Okay, we're going to make it a single season show, but we're not going to try to adapt it to make it fit that. We're just going to throw everything. Basically, it's just like let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
And it didn't work. And that's even what I said. It's just like, well, you try to do too much at once, it's not going to. You try to do all this stuff, it's not going to work.
That is true.
And I think that's what I mean. Even if they adapted to a 26 episode series, would it have been a masterpiece? No, it
Would-
wouldn't have been.
would have been
I think it
passable,
would have been better. It would have been a lot better than what it was.
Would have been passable, right?
I mean, it's sort of passable now. I think if they could have expanded it, it probably would have been like maybe like a B minus or B instead of like a C minus or D that it is. That, it is now.
Right.
I really enjoyed writing this review.
Uh-oh, I got mad on a nostalgia kick. It was a good review.
It took a long time. I mean, if I had cared about time, I wouldn't have written this. If I remember right, it's fairly long too, a couple thousand
It
words.
is. It's long. I mean, this is like short story length here.
But it's
Very good.
It's not overly long for a one-act play, which was sort of the goal.
What it was. Father Romeo infatuated with a giant tree, which he mistakes for Aeschylus. Come on. It was just great.
That was one of the funnier things about the show, was that they took a prince and turned it into a tree.
Ah, shoot. It's a shame because, well, it's not really. I'm just kind of surprised they went ahead and did it. I guess they were trying to have lightning strike twice there because of the success of Genkutsuo.
Yeah. Well, and you know my opinion about that show. It never should have enjoyed success.
I agree. It was not well written. It was not well handled.
It, so.
It was partially well written. It was,
Yeah.
I don't know. I had hopes for the show until the point where the protagonist, Gankutsuo himself, the Count, he had no redeeming qualities. He had no restraint in terms of what he was doing to those people, and that is not faithful to the Count of Monte Cristo. The real Count of Monte Cristo did most of those things, but there's a key moment in the story where he feels regret for having gone too far. In the show, you never really see that.
Well, I've never seen the show, so I really don't have any attention to.
Yeah, you really didn't miss much. You kind of dodged a bullet there.
Well, I mean, I wasn't a fan of the Count of Monte Cristo because I listened to the audiobook last year, and I thought it was okay. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't need to hear it again or read it anymore. Read it.
Did you read the whole thing or an abridged version?
It was the whole thing I heard.
It is pretty, well, I guess I would say it does drone on a little bit, but you probably understand what I'm going at, that he's very careful about his revenge. He means to get back at the people who wronged him, and as much as possible within his power, he doesn't hurt anybody else.
Any shows you guys watching right now aside for the current season?
I have right now. Let me get my list up here. I only have 2 carryovers from last season, but let's see what I have 2. Right now I have 8 from the current season.
That's a lot.
I'll probably end up dropping a bunch of them. That's usually what I do is I check out probably about 10 to 12 shows, and then somewhere along the line, and probably usually by the second episode or sometimes after the first, I'll start chopping shows away. So then I usually end up with 3 or 4.
Right. That's kind of how I work it. I tend to start strong, then it's just the ones that keep my interest.
Sounds like a good use of the 300-word format for Mike's Shredder feature.
Well, some I just chop because I don't care for them. I'm just don't have my interest in others. Some go in what I call some go in the hold pile because, I have a thing if something's censored, I generally tend to lose interest right away. So it's just part of what I'm going to do for the second season of Mockingjay. I'm probably not even going to bother watching it. It airs. I'll just I'll stream this stuff on Funimation so Funimation gets the numbers so they can put it out, but I won't watch it. I'll just wait until the Blu-ray rips come out or they release it, then I'll watch it. Because, if I'm going to see it censored, there's no point in me watching it at all.
Definitely.
Yeah, this magic rays of light really kill the interest.
Exactly.
As I like to call them.
Sometimes they get clever with the censorship. I mean...
it's it could be out in the middle of space. You'd be like, hey... Or they could be in a room pitch black, and you see it's hey, where'd that light bulb come from?
Right. I mean, didn't they kind of make fun of this in one of the shows last 2 seasons ago? Something I'm trying to remember the name of the damn show. Something my mental condition.
Oh.
Really?
I think I know.
There we go.
My mental conditions are ruining my life for something.
That's it. There we go.
Don't you mean everyone's lack of acceptance of my mental condition is ruining my life?
Yes. Here we go. My mental choices are completely interfering with my school life. I think they kind of approached that and made a running joke out of it.
I mean, if he can do it right with the joke, but a lot of times that ruins the scenes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad considering that going back even 10, 15 years, I wouldn't see that.
Yeah, because, I remember, take someone with a grain of salt, Sankaku Complex. They had, when they were... something about they were re-airing Nadia, Secret Blue Water on television, and they had the original one, the girl at I think it was the one girl, I can't remember her name because I haven't seen all the show. She was topless, and you saw her nipples. When the re-airing, she was still topless, no more nipples.
Exactly. I mean, some of that stuff is just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some shows from the 1980s and hell, even the 1970s where you get stuff that would probably not fly in today's market.
Probably no.
Correct. I actually just started watching the original Cutie Honey
Yeah,
a
I
couple
need to
days ago.
see that.
Um, it's a good show, but go in there expecting a a campy '70s show.
Okay.
Um, because Gona Guy first and foremost was a humorist
Yeah.
before he started doing stuff like Mazinger and Devilman. He really did cut his teeth with comedy manga, so there was a lot of that goofy comedy in it, and there's some really perverted stuff in there. Like one part, I was just watching an episode today. It shows one of the running gags is Honey always escapes from her classroom to goof off, and it leads to her finding out about the next case. The episode I'm watching, she sneaks into the room of one of her teachers, who's hardcore lesbian, really hot for Honey, mind you. It's a little bit creepy, but also played off to be funny, which is kind of creepy in another way. But anyway, um, it shows him sitting there. Honey's watching the news, and she says something smells fishy about this. The teacher pipes up and says, "Is it me?"
Yeah, I do want to see it. It's on my watch list. Maybe in the future. Maybe later in the year I'll get to it.
I just popped in because I needed something to break from Appleseed. I can't even watch enough of that to get a shredder out, so I'm probably gonna be moving on from it. It's definitely a good back burner show, something where you kind of just pop in an episode once in a while when you need to kill an hour.
Yeah, like I said,
But
I'll get to it at some point.
yeah, yeah, don't rush
Like,
yourself.